Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to start with the first chapter of chemistry, class 10, that is chemical reactions and equations. And the topics that will be covered in this video are types of changes, chemical reaction and the characteristics of a chemical reactions, and types of chemical reactions. So let us begin this chapter by first discussing what are the different types of changes shown in this picture. If you see here, we have two pictures here. One in which a log of wood is being cut, and in the second case, the log of wood is being burned. So what difference we see? Both of them involve the same reactant, that is log of wood. But in one case, log of wood is being cut, and in the other case, the log of wood is being burnt. So if we see here, on cutting, the characteristics of the wood, the properties of the wood remain the same. But when we burn it, we see a new substance is formed. So yes, I hope you have reached your class 7th lecture, where we read about a type of change where no new substance is formed is called a physical change, and when a new substance is formed in a change, we call that change to be a chemical change. So here are the differences between physical and chemical changes. Physical change, no new substances formed. In a chemical change, new substances formed. Physical change, only the color, state. If I keep ice outside, it melts. So only the physical properties. If I cut paper, its size only changes, but the properties of the paper remain the same. Similarly, in a chemical change, the chemical compositions of properties of the substance change. Physical change, very little heat or light energy is involved. But in a chemical change, we have a large amount of heat or energy which is involved. A physical change is a temporary change, whereas a chemical change is a permanent change. In physical change, the original form of a substance can be regained by the physical methods, but it is not possible to reverse the change in case of a chemical change. So, because we are studying about chemical reaction, therefore, the change which we are going to talk about in this chapter is chemical change. So here is the first activity of NCERT, that is when a magnesium ribbon is burned. Okay. So here we see that we have taken a magnesium ribbon with the help of a pair of tongs, but very important precaution which you have to keep in your mind, and you have to, before burning the magnesium ribbon, that you have to do is you have to rub the magnesium ribbon with the help of a sandpaper. Sometimes this question is asked in the board exam also, that why before burning a magnesium ribbon, we need to rub it with sandpaper. And this is because when the magnesium ribbon in air forms a layer of carbonate or oxide by reacting from CO2 and oxygen present in the air, which will slow down its burning. It will take time for it to catch fire. So in order to make it a quick reaction, we have to remove, we should have a fresh layer of magnesium metal. So to get a fresh layer of magnesium metal, we have to remove these layers of oxide and carbonate. Therefore, we rub it with a sandpaper before it is burned. And when I burn it, we see ash collected. The magnesium ribbon burns with a dazzling white light because it gives heat, it gives light, and also it produces a new substance. Therefore, I can say, because a new substance is formed, burning of magnesium ribbon is a chemical change. Okay, so this is the So whenever a new substance will be formed, we call it as a chemical change. Second is if I add zinc to sulfuric acid, we see bubbles are formed. You can see in this picture also that bubbles are formed. Where do the bubbles come from? Zinc is a solid substance. Sulfuric acid is a aqueous solution, liquid. This is solid, this is liquid. But on mixing, we see bubbles are formed. That means some gas is coming out. That means if we mix two substances and we see a gas coming out, I call this change also to be a chemical change. Okay. So first property we said, if we see new substances formed, color of the substance may change or state changes. Because two solid liquid mixed to give a gas. So if gas is evolved, then also we call that change to be a chemical change. This is how we identify whether the reaction, whether the change is physical change or a chemical change. Third property is, as soon as you mix lead nitrate and potassium iodide, you see a yellow solid substance formed. So again, that means if there is a new substance, change in color takes place, we call that to be again a chemical change. Okay. So these are the 4 indicators of a chemical change. That means if there is a change in the color, energy is given out, solid is formed, or a gas is released. So the most important characteristic of chemical reactions are evolution of gas, formation of precipitate, change in color, change in temperature, change in state. Okay, so this is how we can identify. That means if I'm burning a candle, if I'm cutting an apple, so with the help of this, I mix acid with some metal, and I see the beaker is becoming hot. That means there will be a chemical change that is taking place in the given reaction. Okay. Now let us talk about what are the different types of chemical reactions. Okay. To discuss the type of chemical reactions, first let us observe all these reactions on the slide. Okay, if we see all these examples, we see on the left hand side only one reactant is present. That means we are taking only one substance which is undergoing a change. CaCO3, only one. H2CO3, only one reactant is involved, which gives 2 or more products. That means here a single reactant breaks to give 2 or more products. Such a type of reaction is called decomposition reaction. Decomposition, decompose. Okay, with the help of, obviously it will not break on its own. It may require some energy, but if it breaks one single substance to give many products, we call it as decomposition reaction. So AB was a single compound which breaks to complex compound, which breaks to give A and B, and energy can be released in the form of heat, light, or electricity. This is a decomposition reaction. Now there are these, this is very important topic, because 3 marks, whenever a question comes, they may give either an MCQ or a direct 3-mark question from this decomposition reaction. Decomposition reaction, for example, I heat lead nitrate. Lead nitrate on heating gives lead oxide, NO2 and O2. So whenever we heat lead nitrate, it gives out, you can see brown fumes of nitrogen dioxide. So because a gas is evolved, I took solid, a gas is evolved. This is again a chemical change, chemical reaction. The reaction which takes place is decomposition, and because it is using heat, it is called thermal decomposition reactions. Other examples are ferrous sulfate, heating of mercuric chloride oxide, copper carbonate. So these are some examples. Please, you have to learn the equations also. I will teach you balancing in the next video. But before that, you should know equations or the reactions which are involved in these reactions. Second can be using electricity. Water I take, I pass electricity through it, and I get H2 and O2. Okay, so this is electrolytic decomposition with the help of electricity, because heat cannot break water. So decompose water. So we need more energy for breaking water. So we use electricity. Here you see at the negative terminal we have hydrogen gas. At the positive terminal we have oxygen gas. And also if you see here, you can test these gases also. Hydrogen will burn with a pop sound. Oxygen will burn with a will continue to burn, okay, and will not let the fire extinguisher, will not let the matchstick blow away. It will keep it burning, because you know oxygen is a supporter of burning. And in the ratio, if you see the ratio in which H2 and O2 are collected, it is H2 is double. Why? Because again this question is asked, because if one molecule of H2O breaks, I get 2H. So that is why H2 and O2 are in the ratio 2:1. Okay. So when electricity is passed through water, it breaks to give hydrogen and oxygen. This slide is very important. Hydrogen at cathode, because H is plus, so it goes to the negative terminal. Oxygen at anode, and hydrogen is double in amount to that of oxygen. This is because 2 molecules of water give 2 hydrogen molecules and 1 molecule of oxygen. Decomposition using sunlight, you keep silver chloride outside in sun. Then we see it decomposes to give gray, turns grayish. Again, beta, these colors are very important. They may give you 1 mark question. What is the change in color? Why you call it as a chemical reaction? So you have to support your answers with all these points, that a new substance is formed. How you know? Because silver chloride was white in color, and when I pass sunlight, it becomes gray. Okay, so decomposition reactions are of 3 types. Using thermal means heat, electrolysis using electricity, and photolysis, that means using sunlight. Okay, so in this module today we have learned about types, what is a chemical change, what is the physical change, types of chemical, types of characteristics of a chemical change. Then we learned about 2 types of chemical reactions, that is combination, decomposition, and what are the 3 types of decomposition reactions. In the next module, we will discuss about displacement and double displacement, that is other 2 types of chemical reactions. I hope you liked the video. Please subscribe and comment. Thank you.